the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election, are seeking to overturn Obamacare, to end Obamacare. Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan.
I got rid of the individual mandate.
You're
that was the
debating
worst
him, not
part
me.
of it.
You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions 5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump health care plan?
There's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices.
No, he hasn't.
Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%.
Hasn't happened yet.
You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it.
Maybe because your party has been blocking a universal health care plan since the 1920s? Fact is, healthcare costs have gone up under Trump.
That you would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance and well with health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid.
But for some reason, you can be living in poverty but still too rich to be provided Medicaid.
Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option.
Yay!
Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders, who's far left, on the manifesto, we call it. And that gives you socialized medicine.
Look, the fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar. I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that.
The
whole idea.
Let him.
There is no manifesto number.
Socialized.
He is not for any help for people needing health care because he in fact already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession.
Maybe we should do something about that fact, that we're relying on the oppressive owner class to give us health insurance.
There are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give them better health care at a much lower price because
and by the way, he doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to do that.
I've already fixed it.
He has never offered a plan.
Fixed it to an extent.
He has never done a single thing.
As you might know, but probably don't. Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate.
Yeah, the thing that's supposed to take money away from the individual idiots to fund the people who are actually smart enough to sign up.
We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed, they shouldn't even call it Obamacare.
You think Obama came up with the name?
But the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive.
The healthcare industry is even more expensive, except instead of taxes paying it, the people have to pay for it themselves.
Premiums are too high.
Because the Republicans blocked the government from negotiating drug prices with the drug companies.
He has no plan for health care.
Of course we do.
He sends out wishful thinking. He has executive orders that have no power. He hasn't lowered drug costs for anybody. He's been promising a health care plan since he got elected. He has none, like almost everything else he talks about. He does not have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. And the fact is, this man doesn't know what he's talking about.
Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak.
Radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure
47 years you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject, so let's try to be serious about it.
Nice.
We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus in the United States, and more than 200,000 people have died. Even after we produce a vaccine, experts say that it could be months or even years before we come back to anything approaching normal.
200,000 dead. As you said, over 7 million infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day are contracting COVID. In addition to that, about between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying. When he was presented with that number, he said, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because you are who you are. That's why it is. The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people. You don't panic. He panicked. In addition to that, we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had on the ground in China should be able to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves how dangerous this was. He did not even ask Xi to do that. He told us what a great job Xi was doing. He said we owe him a debt of gratitude for being so transparent with us. And what did he do then? He then did nothing. He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan.
Wrong.
I laid out
Sir,
back
it's
in
just 2
March
minutes.
exactly
it's so
what we
wrong.
should be doing. And I laid out again in July what we should be doing. We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able to go out and get people the help they need to keep their businesses open schools. It costs a lot of money. You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
Well done, sir.
If we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000, and one person is too much. It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault.
Biden, you need to press Trump on the fact that he refuses to take responsibility for the crisis.
And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. You don't know how many people died in Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But if you look at what we've done, I closed it, and you said he's xenophobic. He's a racist, and he's xenophobic.
You are, but Biden never said that.
You didn't think we should have closed our country because you thought it was terrible. You wouldn't have closed it for another 2 months. By my doing it early, in fact, Dr. Fauci said, President Trump saved thousands of lives.
Conveniently ignoring everything else Dr. Fauci said.
Many of you Democrat governors said,
I don't care what they said. Skip.
we got the gowns, we got the masks, we made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators.
I love how Trump somehow thinks he knows what Biden would and would not have done, even while he completely ignores the fact that a lot of hospitals are still missing PPE.
And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick.
Hashtag misleading statistic.
And that's because of the fake news. But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job
Well, you
done.
didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no
very-
economic
Let's-
recession.
sir.
We didn't shut down the economy. This is his economy he shut down. The reason it's shut down is because, look, you folks at home, how many of you got up this morning and had an empty chair at the kitchen table?
Appeal to emotion. It might work, but not on me.
Once
His
behind me,
his
Joe.
own CDC director says we could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up, he said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask. And by the way, in terms of the whole notion of a vaccine, we're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't. What we trust is a scientist.
You have repeatedly either contradicted or been at odds with some of your government's own top scientists. The week before last, the head of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield, said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those were your two words.
Yeah.
But Dr. Slaoui, the head of your Operation Warp Speed, has said exactly the same thing. Are they both wrong?
Well, I've spoken to the companies, and we can have it a lot sooner.
So you ignored your scientists and trusted the companies.
It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives.
So you're
left, I don't know
suggesting
what
that
I
the
call it.
head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Slaoui...
I disagree with him. Yeah, no, I disagree with both of them. It could also
I'm
be
talking about
after
when it's
that.
generally available, not when
Well,
it'll
we're
be-
going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up logistically. They're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be
This
delivering
is the
the
same
vaccine.
man
It's
who
all
told
set
you
up.
by Easter this would be gone away. By the warm weather, it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the
That
same
was
man.
said sarcastically,
That was
and you
him.
know that.
I-
That was said sarcastically.
And so here's the deal. This man is talking about a vaccine. Every serious company is talking about maybe having a vaccine done by the end of the year. But the distribution of that vaccine will not occur until sometime beginning or the middle of next year to get it out, if we get the vaccine. And pray God we will.
You say the public can trust the scientists, but they can't trust President Trump. In fact, you said that again tonight. Your running mate, Senator Harris, goes further, saying the public health experts, quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed. Given the fact that polls already show that people are concerned about the vaccine and are reluctant to take it, are you and your running mate, Senator Harris, contributing to that fear?
No more than the question you just asked him. You pointed out. He puts pressure and disagrees with his own scientists.
But you're saying you can't,
Everybody
or
knows.
Senator
And-
Harris is saying you
no,
can't trust the scientists.
No. You can trust the scientists. She didn't say that. You can't trust
She said the public health
Did say
experts,
that.
quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed.
Well, that's what he's going to try to do. But there's millions of scientists, there's thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job doesn't depend on him. Do you believe for a moment what he's telling you in light of all the lies he's told you about the whole issue relating to COVID? He still hasn't even acknowledged that he knew this was happening, knew how dangerous it was going to be back in February, and he didn't even tell you. He's on record as saying it. He panicked or he just looked at the stock market, one of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
Mr. President?
Could have poked that stock market bruise a little more, couldn't you?
Did you use the word smart?
I'm Donald Trump, and I am a very stable genius.
If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country.
Close, but not quite.
And by the way, now it's being built again.
see,
and it's
We're going to
going
get
up
to the
fast.
economy in the next segments. Vice President Biden, you have been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I'd know what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to provide
that
them
to Nancy
plastic.
Pelosi.
Well, he's just shush for a minute.
Tell it to Nancy Pelosi. And Schumer,
by the
Brian
way,
Chuck.
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with him in the
Okay.
Senate.
But-
And he sits on his golf course. And, well, I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play
think
more than
about
I
it.
do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact...
Well, he wants to shut down this country. And I want to keep it open. And we
You
did
get-
a great
he
thing
just
by
admitted
shutting
he
it
shut
down.
it down.
Wait a minute,
Let
Joe.
him
Let me
finish,
shut
sir.
you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second.
Nice.
He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot.
Biden, you need to press down on Trump and tell him that just because young people aren't dying, they're still infecting older people.
But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they're shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election.
Lies.
Those
wanna move
states
on to
are
another
not
subject?
doing well that are shut down.
which is-
Almost as if having more COVID causes you to shut down instead of the other way around.
I respond to that.
Wants to
President
shut
Trump,
down the
you
whole
have
country.
begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer, questioning
No, I think
the
masks
efficacy
are okay.
of
You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I
Just
wear
like your
masks
rallies.
when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say
Vice
this.
President Biden, go ahead, sir.
Look, the way to open businesses is give them the wherewithal to be able to open. Well, masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, everybody wore masks in social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also
It
said the
matters.
opposite. They've
And
also said the opposite.
no serious person said the opposite.
The USPS had a plan to distribute 5 masks to every American household in the US, and Trump actively went in to stop it. If you had just mentioned that, you would have won the debate.
They've
No
also said, well, look
serious
at
All right, I wanna
Dr.
ask you-
Fauci. Dr. Fauci said the
He
opposite.
did not
I
say
want to
the
ask you, we got
He
a
said
little
very
bit more than a
strongly,
minute left in this
masks
segment.
are not good.
More proof he doesn't trust scientists. Biden, say
Then he
it.
changed his mind. He said masks good.
I
I'm
wanna
okay
ask-
with masks.
President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people.
Outside.
Outside, yes, sir. Agreed.
What? Plenty of them were inside.
Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with
Because nobody will show up.
Oof.
people with.
Well, it's true. Nobody shows up to his rallies.
All right. In any case, why you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You goes first, sir.
Because people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
But are you
I've
not
done a
worried
great
about it
job
spreading
as a
disease?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports. We use airports.
Are you
and
not worried
hangars,
about
and we
the
have a
disease
lot of
issues,
people.
sir?
Well, so far we have had no problem whatsoever.
Yet there seems to always be an outbreak every couple days after you host an event, bragging like his crowd size matters.
That's what he said. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing on one another.
We've had no
or
negative
cheek to
effect.
jowl.
Damn, Joe, you really screwed up this potential zinger.
He's been totally irresponsible the way in which he has handled the social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraged them not to.
All right.
He's a fool on this.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you can't. Nobody can.
Gentlemen, can we move on to the economy?
Yes.
Joe Biden won this segment again. Again, it's hard to defend against the truth. And when you're talking about your crowd sizes, that's really not a good look.